Let's do it.
All right. Premium account on Twitter is required to create a live broadcast on their platform. Please upgrade to a premium subscription on X or stream to a different destination. Okay, so X, it says, isn't working right now.
All right.
Okay. All right, I got to
Well,
go to this TV for him. And oh, wait, hold on.
do what you
We're
got to
just,
do.
all right.
All right. So we're live. We've been live actually, but I don't know if you guys knew that. You didn't, because that's okay, because we're doing StreamYard and we're learning, and that's how it goes. And there's a button here that said go live, and
Okay.
we finally hit it. So we're there. Uh, we have a new month of of the Daily Dow with Ryan Holiday. But the most exciting thing is so far. But Blaze did a little rundown of what was going on this weekend. Brother, Ohio State, fantasy football, DraftKings. It was a good one. So he missed it, but that's okay. We can always redo that. Good morning, Robbie. I see you. Everything now is working. Now this makes sense. Before I was like, where is everyone in the chat? And it's because we didn't press go live because we're just learning it right now. We got MP, we got Robbie over there too. I was on my morning walk this morning and I had Robbie in my mind. Robbie is an epic stepper walker, getting his miles in. Robbie, what was it? You walked the circumference of the earth in steps. Is that what it was? I believe that's what you had told me, if I can remember back correctly. So, and Robbie's walking now. So there you go. He's getting his steps in. I feel I felt that my steps are, I feel as if I'm getting less than 11,000 steps a day. I start to feel it. And it's something where I just need to kind of be out there and getting those kind of things in there. So Robbie's logging those miles though. But we got Paul in here too. We got Brofit in here. So we are technically starting like 10 minutes late, but we were on. We just didn't press live. So sorry about that. But 6 years walking, 7 months, 8. Robbie, you are a legend. Love it.
Oh, this
All
is
right.
so much better. I can see everybody. How about that?
Yeah, definitely makes it better. Something's up with X. We're going to have to figure that out, and that'll be fine. But I like this. It does give us a lot more versatility in things, doesn't it?
RH Madison got 24,000 miles in, 6 years, 7 months, and 8 days.
Yeah, he does a good rundown of kind of where his steps were and everything on the VDads podcast. Go back, Robbie, when was that? That was maybe, what was that, 3 months ago now? If you go back there, I know we've really put a lot of our time and our effort into Daily Dads in the morning, and the podcast itself was really our main bread and butter. But we're building, we're getting there. We'll be able to get all of that in at some point. I feel like the interview skills and the interview process is something that I really enjoy. So, but anyway, gratitude. Where are we at? Blaze, give us some gratitude.
I think it's just been nice. Me personally, I'm not traveling again until maybe October for the New York Comic Con, and so I'm just looking forward to hopefully getting us some kind of routine back because I've been traveling a lot. When you travel, all your routines get messed up. So I'm just very thankful to be at home and hopefully building back up into that.
What does that mean? Like, what's your first step? Like, if you were like, hey, you know what, things are finally calmed down, what's that first thing you target to feel as if you're getting back on track?
For me, it's scheduling my like workouts. So like Orange Theory 2 days a week and yoga 2 days a week. I mean, ideally I want to be working out 7 days a week, but I think just starting at that like lower threshold. And once fall rolls around, it gets colder outside, I'd like to go play basketball at the Y again. So I played basketball at the Y yesterday, and I didn't make any of my shots. And my teammate, I don't think, was very happy with me, but I was there and I got some cardio in. So that's all that matters.
That's awesome.
And I think I really need to like be a little bit more thoughtful with my diet and just making sure, because for me, is if I do the grocery shopping, I'm set up for success. My wife does the Instacart, but like saving time and all that stuff, which I think is great. But I'm so less likely to cook if she Instacarts rather than me going and picking out the food. So I think those are like the big things.
Mine is definitely around that food too. I feel like once I'm back in my food shopping And for me, I always like, I'm a big prepper. And by that, I mean, like, I like to prep like a bunch of like proteins for the fridge, like hard boiled eggs. I'll cut up some like steak, and then we'll do like usually some
That's a
kind
good
of like
idea.
chicken kind of cut up. But I always feel like once I've done the shopping and once I've done a little bit of prep and I can go in my fridge and just kind of grab those things out, I know that I'm back in that with the same thing as like, I know that once I'm back in my routine of getting up at the same time every morning, then I feel pretty good. And most things kind of fall in line after that. And so I always like wherever I'm at, I try to like figure those things out. So I'm always going to jump into like the food shopping before I get somewhere. And I jump into trying to kind of get up in this like same time every morning. I think the older I get, are you this way? Because I feel like I like look for it in my kids, and kids are so resilient, and I feel like I'm becoming less resilient in my age when we go somewhere, and I feel like there's definitely more time that I need to adapt to a new schedule and all those things like that. The what's the word I'm looking for? And,
Bounce back ability.
we'll call it that for right now. But yeah, just being able to kind of like change, schedules and stuff has always been kind of tough. Or it's getting harder as I'm getting older, so I'm just noticing that. So it takes more effort. But
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're home. I'm glad that we're going to see you in Comic Con.
Thank you. Looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm just thinking about like, especially like with the 3 kids, because it's like it's not just me bouncing back to my schedule. It's like bouncing our kids back into their different things too. And I think I definitely put my kids like a priority over myself, which I think I don't know any parent that hasn't had to sacrifice something for their kids, whether it's a little bit or a lot. Um, that's just where you had my mind going to for a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, so transitions, it's fall, it's coming. It's September 1st. So there's a lot of people that are against pumpkin spice anything until September 1st. So today might be your day. I'm ready like 2 or 3 pumpkin spice lattes deep. But I'm gonna try and limit myself to one a week because there's a lot of calories and sugar there that I just don't need in my life. I'm really big right now. You remember our friend Steven and that we went to and hung out with in at VCon?
Your friend that you knew
Yep.
from when you were younger? Yeah.
Yeah. So one thing that he's been talking about a lot in some of his posts is like getting rid of things that no longer serves him. And so I've been thinking a lot about like shedding what doesn't serve me, what doesn't serve me, what doesn't serve me. So like I exited one of my fantasy football leagues that I've been out in for like 15 years this year just because I love those guys, but they live in Ohio. I live here, and I just feel like I was drifting farther and farther away. So I joined some Web3 fantasy football stuff. And then I let a certification expire this month that I've held for 6 years. So I don't know what that has to do with the conversation. But I think with like starting over, you think, okay, what can I be letting go of? What can I keep hold of?
Do you have a non-negotiable?
I'm trying. This is my non-negotiable. Only working one night a week is one of my non-negotiables.
Wait, wasn't it 0? I know that at work you've been having conversations. Wasn't it 0 week? It was 0 nights a week, or no?
No. I've always told them, I can do one night a week.
Got it.
But and every now and then I can pinch hit and do other stuff, but I don't really feel comfortable. That's just not the life that I'm trying to live right now, is being away from my kids 2 nights a week and missing bedtime, especially 2 days in a row. So I'm trying to figure that out.
When you're navigating that, are you talking with people that have families and kids too? Or are you talking with people who don't? And then I think it's like that language is so different, and that understanding, I feel like.
Usually I think it's people that do or understand. I think
Got it.
that where I'm at right now with my work, I think probably 70% of the people that I work with don't have small children at home like I do, and I think 30% do. So I think I am like the minority in that aspect. So yeah, because if I didn't have small kids at home, or even if they were in like high school, I think it'd be like maybe a little bit different. But they're a bunch of little minions running around my house, so you gotta help them out.
I think these conversations, just even thinking about it, right? Someone who, I mean, this is the equivalent of just kind of waking up and someone in your life waking you up and just being like, "Hey, you know what? You have kids. Make sure that you value this experience." That's kind of what I see these mornings as. And
Uh-huh.
I always think about, not being able to be in this moment and think back because I was looking at something recently about, people that were on their deathbed, and for some reason it focused really on men. And obviously we're talking about different generations, but like we're talking about like regrets when they were on their deathbed and things that they said. And I don't know where it came from, if things were biased or not, whatever was actually happening. But it was saying that like a lot of men, a lot of people, well, I guess a lot of people, and then it said specifically men said this more often, is that they wish they weren't working as much. They wish that they were spending more time with kids. And I think it sounds like so cliche, but I do always think about that. I don't want to sit on my deathbed and think that, but at the same time, it's like balancing the passion and then being able to create the life for your family and then being able to be with them. It's so hard. Then I guess it gets down to just being a dad altogether.
100%. I agree that it is definitely like cliche, but I think about it daily, and I think, to me, what's more important, in my opinion, than starting the day thinking about my family and growth of my kids rather than anything else.
Yeah, 100%, man. I think you're on your way there. You always do a good job. You always remind me of it at least. And I think it's definitely good.
You remind me of it at least. So the reading today,
let's go with it.
The meditation. I loved it. I think I'm an avid reader. I love to read. I finished, I think, 2 books on vacation, and I'm working on another one. Sometimes I feel guilty though, because I have like work to do, and it's like, oh, I should really be doing that work and not reading. And it's like, no, reading's important. I should be reading. And one of the things so anyways, today's meditation was about, Ryan Hyde was talking about Coach Pete Carroll and how his dad worked in was it a machine shop or I don't know, some
steel company
for like 30 years, 40 years. And every day he would tell his sister and him, you just got to be smart. You got to be smart. You got to be smart. And to him, I think that was always reading. And what Ryan Holiday launches into is, you might not give your kids like Olympic level genes. You might not be able to give your kids like a huge inheritance of money, but what you can always do is give them a gift of reading. And he refers to reading as like the great leveler, because he basically said it's free and anyone can do it, which I agree with for the most part. Like, yes, you need to like be taught how to read and stuff like that and have access to books. But with the internet and everything now, I think reading's so much easier. And so I've been really struggling with what brought me to is I've been really struggling with my 7-year-old, but somehow over the past like 2 weeks, her reading has just unlocked. I don't know if it's because we bought her a new desk or what's going on, but she's been reading. She probably read like 3 or 4 books in the past 2 weeks. And I'm just like, all right, let's move to the next one. Let's move to the next one. Let's keep going. So it's really cool to see her starting to anchor in that love of reading.
Yeah. Is Heather a big reader?
Yes. She reads a ton of like, I don't like calling them self-help books, like growth books.
Yeah.
Because like she doesn't have her MBA or anything like that. So with her starting her company, she's just always reading a new like entrepreneur or like tax book or like leadership book or something like that. So
yeah. Would you say reading is one of the most passive ways that you can affect your kids? Because when you're reading, they're going to see you, right? They're going to see you with a book in your hand, sitting down, taking time off your phone. And I think it's definitely something that I know I'm not great at. And it's definitely something that you make me feel that I want to get better at. I was going to say you make me feel so inferior with how much you're reading and how quick you do. And I was like, I don't know if I like those words so much, but it definitely reminds me, because I just do a lot of listening. I do Audible. Someone taught me to read more is to have the book and actually read, but have Audible playing at the same time. If you're someone who struggles getting enough done, staying on task, because I know that with how my brain works is that I'm one of those people who's reading the page and then I get like 3 pages in. I'm like, wait a second, what did I just read?
What did I just read? Yeah.
Yeah. And so then it's just distracting, but it makes me feel as if like, what's the point of doing this then if I have to keep going back? But when you listen to the Audible at the same time and you're going, it keeps you locked in to the book. And then I think it can really kind of help strengthen that muscle, which I think is definitely good. I know that my wife and I were not I would say we're definitely not like the strongest readers. Like we just don't read all that often. And I think it's one thing that I know that my oldest is someone who doesn't like, we try to get her to read so much. And you've mentioned something about it before, but it's tough. And I think it's definitely one of those things that it's like, if we can make them curious in anything, I think we have to do it. So, and keep pushing them there. So, but I think it's definitely one of the like easiest things we can do is just show them that we are taking time to look in a book at least and stay curious about that. So, but that's what this whole month is about, right?
Yeah, the whole month's about reading.
Yeah.
So
we have time.
What it has me thinking about, what do you think is a book that every kid should read?
My first thought goes to I don't know, and then I don't like that answer because I'm not thinking, and then I'm thinking, and the first thought that pops in my head is like, what was it? Chicken soup for the whatever soul, like for the teenage soul. I always think back to that really quickly.
Did you read that as a kid?
I read like one of them. Like, wasn't there just like one of them, and then they kind of like there's iterations of all kinds.
Well, it started out with like chicken soup for the soul, and then I think it branched off into like 100 or 1,000 like other like iterations. I remember like going to a nursing conference one day, and it was like chicken soup for the nurse's soul, and like all this. So I think it's now like a brand with this. And I just put it in the chat too. Brofit said The Giving Tree. Oh man, I need to read that one to my kids. I think I missed that one. RH Madison, who said Who Stole My Cheese? I remember that one from as a kid. That's a really good one. I don't remember 100% what it's about. I'm incredibly late in the morning, but a big shout out to all the dads on our Australia Father's Day. Oh, happy Father's Day to everybody in Australia. There's a book that I want to find for my kids, and I want to, and because I love coffee, we love coffee here on VDads. It's called like The Woman Who Put Salt in Her Coffee, and it's all about this woman who puts salt in her coffee instead of sugar, and they go on this like adventure to try and solve the problem of what to do with the coffee. And I think it's great to know, like, even looking at stoicism, like what can you control and what can't you control. But I've also haven't read the book in 20 years, so it's one of those things where maybe if I read it to my kids, it's like, you know what, this is trash. or what's curious, this wine's trash. So I need to figure that out. But I'm trying to think of what another book is. I'm
looking up. I wanted to see, just because it's where my mind goes, and I know it's cheating, but I wanted to see if there's like a list of books that are recommended for kids to read, and a bunch of them come up. I mean, A Wrinkle in Time, Anne of Green Gables. Those are two that I guess I would think about. Maybe Harry Potter's here, Winnie the Pooh, and then it kind of goes on to a few more. I want to see what the sources are though, because I don't see. Here's like Scholastic, 100 must-read books. This is interesting. I mean, this is like one of the easiest tasks that we can kind of give if we want to kind of work through some of these things.
Yeah.
Whether our kids read these or we read them as an adult right now, I think that could be good. But here's 10. I don't know if there's an order by any means here, but Charlotte's Web, Goodnight Moon, A Wrinkle in Time, the Snowy Day. These are like getting to some like really kids books. But I think what we're talking about, right? I think we're saying like what, around like 10 years old, like 10 to 15, maybe, like those kind of books, right? Is that not what we're kind of getting at?
I'm thinking like, I think it's all about the age range. Like, I think we could talk like, what's a book for ages 1 to 3, what's an age for like 3 to 8, and then like young adult. Like, I loved reading Animorphs as a kid when I was like 12 to 16, or like 12 to 14. So I'd love to get my kids into that one day. If you guys don't know, Animorphs was this like science fiction young adult books where these kids turned into animals.
I like that idea.
So for me, reading, it's almost like meditating, because it's taking yourself outside of your body and like really like putting yourself in this like different environment. Like, especially like when you get into like the chapter books with the kids, it's so interesting. Like, I could read a chapter and you could read a chapter, and we pull different things out of it. Just like every day we pull different, like Ryan has a different perspective on the meditations each day than I do. And I think that's so cool for like my daughter. Like, you draw a picture of this character and I draw a picture of this character, and kind of seeing what that looks like.
I love to say, you know what? Isn't Dom heading to the Painted Porch?
I thought he was having a pool party today.
No. Yes, that's what I remember hearing too. But I think he's headed to the Painted Porch to go try and maybe see Ryan Holiday, who I know is usually pretty kind of secretive.
Oh, yeah.
There, right? So he's going
Uh-huh.
there, which I think is like, I'm actually now thinking about this month. I think it's kind of incredible. I want to do this. I would love to build out a VDads list of books that we feel would be so great for our
That's a really
kids,
good idea.
because I really feel as if some of the books that maybe, some like, we can talk about banned books. We can talk about books that maybe did not resonate for us, or maybe we didn't read them, because I'm sure that, geographically, there's going to be some things that we just never ran into. But I would love to talk about those. I mean, a separate piece. I can go back to some of these older books that I was kind of forced to read in school that I'm grateful for. But some of these things were really cool. But I'd love to, because I would love to work through some of these and see what books, Oh, I mean, yeah, I think a separate piece was really the one that really hit home for me the most, because it's the one book I remember reading, and it was like, I remember everything about a separate piece was like so mind altering to me, to see how people's lives are so affected by friendships and like who they choose to hang out with, and then all this kind of stuff too. So I would reread that, to be honest with you. But I'm going to be a better reader. I'm going to not just be a better reader, I'm going to read at least 3 books this month with your abilities in mind. And I also like what Ryan Holiday kind of shared here, which I don't know, when I was reading this, I kind of thought about like Pete Carroll, but not that Pete Carroll. Like, how many times has Pete Carroll heard someone say that, or someone had to kind of define it? Because Pete Carroll was the famous basketball coach at Princeton, and I'm just saying famous because I didn't know that he was famous, but that's there. But the one thing that Pete Carroll's dad said was, the strong guys are always taking from the smaller, weaker guys, but the smart take from the strong. And I like that. And I'm definitely in the camp of like wanting to make sure that we're smart and strong and kind of sharing those things. I don't know who isn't going to think that, but I love the idea of trying to, give kids the tools to say, how can I make sure that if I'm not the strongest, if I'm not the biggest, what can I do? Well, you have your books, you can read, and you can kind of use your smarts that way. So I think I'm really excited about the rest of this month and see how Ryan Holiday kind of breaks this down. So we'll get there.
I love it. So everybody, we're gonna post on our X page with lots of like book recommendations and start a list. So we'd love. I just want to go through some of these. The Giver is so good. Love You Forever, I haven't read, so now I feel like I need to get that book. And then we already said Who Stole My Cheese, The Giving Tree. One book I go to, and it's not like anything like crazy, but like Hop on Pop. I just think Hop on Pop's like a great book that.
The Dr. Seuss?
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's so crazy because I'm like, oh, this is such a silly book, but there's so many times where I've had to tell my kids, like, stop jumping on me, like, don't hop on pops.
I like the Dr. Seuss book, the Go Dog Go. It's for some reason it's the one book that's like stayed in my head. It's like if someone says Dr. Seuss, I go Dog Go. But like it's not really what I think about first, but it's the first one that comes out of my mouth. So
Nate was just talking about how he pays his son to read, and actually just saw a really good Instagram post about if you're going to pay your kids for anything, like having them fall in love with reading is like a great way to do it. So I think I'm trying to do that with my daughter too, who's just started reading. So I love that, Nate.
That's great. I also just in that same vein, there was, I remember, I think it was Ryan Holiday, not to sound so much like a groupie right now, but Ryan Holiday did say, he was like, if you end up wanting to invest your time, and maybe it was in this book, I don't even know, but he said, if you're looking to invest time and money into your kids and you want to be as strategic as possible, he was like, look, there's 3 things that I'm always going to do. It's going to be something cultural, it's going to be traveling, and it's going to be a book. So if my kid is ever going to have like a really strong interest in saying, hey, you know what, I just heard about Thai food, I want to do it. Like, you drop everything and you go get Thai food, and with like your kid. If like your kid wants to, go see what Mexico is all about, like go to Mexico, like versus Disney World, or versus like trying, In-N-Out Burger because someone wants to see that. And you also said, like, if a kid has an interest in a book, you buy that book right away. Now you're talking to someone that owns a bookstore, so maybe he's biased, but
I want to try and get some money and have Dom buy every copy of the Daily Dads that he has at the store at the Painted Porch. Like really like make a statement.
Yeah.
So
Can I ask you a favor? Can you? I'll pay you back. Can you Amazon me a book that you think I should read?
oh yeah, sure.
I would love for you to do that. I don't think I'm gonna be have it. I don't think I have a strong enough uh, book library, mentally or physically, to think about what to send you. But I will do the same.
Okay.
And if anyone else wants to pick another dad and send them a book
Oh,
that
I
you
love
think
that.
that they should read, and whether it's something, I guess I would love it to be something that we could share with our kids or something about parenting, but I would really love to see what other people have really tried. So, Nath has already sent Craig the Daily Dad, which I thought was really cool. But I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna ask you, Blaze. Can you send me a book that you think
Yeah,
I should read? I'll do the same for you, and then
love
maybe
it.
we both can do something to Dom and see if he wants to do that too. So we'll see.
Love
Cool.
it.
All
I
right.
like that. I'm gonna go get on that right now. Happy Sunday. What a great
You
Sunday.
too, man.
Thank you.
I think we're gonna kayak today. We're gonna do a little bit of smoking some meats. My wife wants to do it. I told her smoking meats is like it's great, but it takes so much time. The cleanup is a lot. But she's like, I'm gonna do it. I'm like, all right, that's cool. So I'm gonna help with that, and then yeah, we'll see what's going on.
I thought you were about to go say like we're gonna smoke some weed today, just but that
Maybe.
took
We'll see.
oh man. All right. Have a good day, everybody. May your mugs stay filled with coffee and your hearts with gratitude. And that's all I got.
Later, guys. Enjoy the
Later.
sun. Bye.
Bye.
Gotta end that stream.